the story starts like many others. Gates popped up, monsters appeared, humans awakened with new abilities, and once again, the world had finally acquired peace. But that peace was short-lived when the world faced a new trial in the form of the Red Gate, dubbed the worst disaster known to humankind, the Chaos Gate. Even with the combined strength of countless hunters, sealing the gate had become an impossible task. Just as humanity faced the crisis of extinction, 12 legendary hunters stepped forward. They defeated the catastrophe known as the Chaos Gate, becoming the heroes who saved humanity. And those 12 heroes are known as the 12 Apostles. In just a record-breaking 79 hours, the party defeated the Destruction Beast. Now, humanity can rest for the next 100 years until the next Chaos Gate opens again. This also means that from today, it will be another 100 years before the 12 Apostles gather once more. Everyone has their retirement plans, but it looks like one particular hunter, the Thunder Emperor, still hasn't made up his mind. By now, even his friends are curious about what he plans to do. That's when he finally expresses his desire to become a writer, a web novel author to be specific. And so, a few months after the Chaos Gate's closure, the Thunder Emperor starts taking online lectures from a guy named Peterson. The Emperor has already begun dreaming of the bright future he's about to have in his writing career. The fever to become a writer is so intense that he even starts thinking that perhaps he was born for this. As my guy decides to finally get to work, having taken notes from Peterson's lecture, his seniors interrupt him. They think he's done enough for one day. But as much as the Emperor wants to take a breather, he's got a deadline to meet, and it's due tomorrow. There's no room to slack off. His seniors wish him good luck and leave him there in the cafe. While the Emperor eagerly prepares to dive back into his ambitious work, we notice something strange through the window, a manhole cover shaking. And then, out pops a disgusting monster from the manhole. Meanwhile, my guy is diligently working, totally unaware of the horror lurking outside. He's chugging down lattes like there's no tomorrow, and the waiter just keeps bringing them. Counting this one, it's now his 18th order. The poor lady in the background is struggling to understand how a single dude can drink this much. To give himself the adrenaline rush he needs, he puts on his headphones and plays his favorite playlist. And with that, he's ready to pour out all the creativity he can muster. At the same time, that monster finally crawls out of the manhole and starts wreaking havoc. Chaos erupts, and people are getting beaten down by the giant monster. But our boy is still blissfully unaware, music blasting in his ears. He is almost done with his script. The only thing left is the final touches. After spending a short while polishing his work, the Emperor is now just one key press away from finalizing it. But before he can press that one last damn key, the monster obliterates the cafe's glass wall, sending his laptop and everything he had flying through the air. All bro wanted was to finalize his work, but now his laptop is on the ground, split into two pieces. His hands tremble as he reaches for it, but all he can do is feel pure remorse for his lost manuscript. This also makes him go absolutely bananas with rage, and without even moving from his spot, he electrocutes the hell out of that tentacle monster, frying it to a crisp like it's no big deal. But even after roasting the monster, the Emperor still isn't satisfied. He wants this damn thing to get back up, because he hasn't even started cooking it properly yet. Let's have a little flashback as to how the Emperor ended up in this cafe. Scene transitions somewhere else. A crazy lady is lounging on a couch, munching on chips while watching an exciting movie on TV. Her name is Hongyomtae Yiseo. She's an S-rank hunter, and also the older sister of our boy. Speaking of our boy, he is the youngest of the 3 Tai siblings, and his real name is Tai Yijun. Yijun doesn't seem thrilled to see his useless sister slacking off like this. Now that we know Yijun, let's get a little background on Tai Yiseo. She's one of the country's top S-rank hunters, and the captain of the 7th Division of Guardian, a top-ranking guild. Not only that, but with her delicate looks and impeccable fashion sense, she's a superstar in the hunter world. But right now, she looks nothing like the elegant, badass lady everyone imagines her to be. Yijun takes the TV remote and changes the channel, instantly sending her into an absolute frenzy like an obnoxious iPad brat. She's furious that he's ruining her precious day off, but Yijun reminds her that, as a self-employed freelancer, she technically has no work to take a break from. Since she's at home, he wants her to help with the housework. If she doesn't like that, then she should at least go outside and get some exercise. As the siblings bicker back and forth, Yijun's phone suddenly rings, catching both of their attention. When he checks the notification, they both learn that a sudden gate has appeared in Mapo District, Seoul. The TV news blares the same report. Due to the unexpected gate appearance, the area has been designated as a red zone, and everyone is advised to stay indoors if possible. Citizens already outside are urged to take shelter immediately. Hearing this, Yiseo decides to head out. Her brother questions whether she received an official summon message, to which she responds with a no. She's going on her own accord because she thinks it's better to stop the catastrophe beforehand. As soon as she takes off those goofy-ass glasses, she suddenly transforms into the stunning hunter we've all heard about. Even Yijun can't help but take note of how effortlessly cool his sister looks. But he reassures her that there's no need for her to step outside, because he, a flop and unemployed writer, just so happens to be nearby running errands. And that's how one simple decision led Yijun to lose everything he had poured his heart into. With his laptop in pieces, the hard drive is completely shattered. No hope of reviving his lost manuscript. What makes it even more painful is that it was supposed to be his debut work. He was so sure that with his first novel, he'd hit it big, make a dazzling debut as a super rookie in the web novel industry. As a popular writer, he'd win this year's web novel award, hold lectures, and finally enter his prime. But now, all those dreams exist only in his head, failing miserably to materialize into reality. So, to blow off some steam, he's absolutely looking forward to grilling more than just a few octopuses. He's gonna make damn sure these little critters know they messed with the wrong guy. Now his sights are set on the boss monster, and it's only a matter of time before he makes an example out of it, showing the world why messing with him is a terrible idea. Meanwhile, across the city, personnel have already begun neutralizing the threat. The Team 1 unit dispatched to the area has successfully cleared out most of the monsters and ensured the safe evacuation of all civilians. The soldiers are now ready to march ahead and eradicate the remaining monsters. Only a few critters remain, and once they're dealt with, they'll be free. They find it exciting how smoothly they've handled this threat, especially since it's categorized as a sudden gate, which is known to pose a major challenge. But then again, the reason for their easy victory is apparent. Bulldozer Masaoki is on their team. Masaoki is a jacked beast from the Emergency Response Unit, Guardian's 4th Division. An A-rank hunter with a no-nonsense attitude, he sharply orders his team to stop the chit-chat. The boss monster could appear at any moment, and they still haven't taken it down. One soldier isn't worried at all. After all, they have an A-rank hunter on their side, so how could they possibly fail? But Saoki reminds them to stay vigilant. He knows the monster can strike from anywhere at any time. Then, a massive dragon with multiple heads appears. The creature is so huge that the buildings around it look insignificant in comparison. It slams its enormous reptilian tail onto the ground with such force that it causes a massive impact, instantly crushing one soldier who's unlucky enough to be in the way. Just a blink, and the man's reduced to a bloodied pulp. Saoki is utterly stunned. He's never seen anything like this before. The monster they're facing is no ordinary beast. It's a Hydra, a boss monster with a AAA rank. The soldiers open fire with everything they have, but it's clear that their weapons are nothing more than a minor inconvenience to the monster. The creature obliterates buildings with a single swing of its tentacle. Saoki is left petrified. A AAA rank monster coming out of an A rank gate is unheard of. He knows they need reinforcements. Without it, they have no chance of surviving. The Hydra unleashes a blast of purple fire, and the soldiers brace for impact. But Saoki swoops in just in time, shielding his team from the deadly attack. Just after blocking a single attack, he looks visibly exhausted. He knows they have to buy time until reinforcements arrive. The problem is, one head of the Hydra is already A-class, and if all 9 heads attack, survival is unlikely. But Saoki refuses to give up. If there are people to save, and if he still has the strength, he will fight for them, at the cost of his own life. So Saoki does what any brave hero should. He leaps into the air and crashes down like a goddamn meteor, using his trump card to take down 2 of the monster's heads. It's a small victory, but it's not enough to neutralize the threat completely. One of the Hydra's heads fires another purple blast, and Saoki is directly in its path. The attack takes him down, and he's out of commission. The Hydra isn't done yet, though. It raises all its heads, gathering energy to form a massive fireball. Saoki, battered and bruised, knows if they don't stop it, the entire area will be wiped out. But then, a bolt of lightning streaks across the sky, striking the monster's fireball and causing it to fizzle out. Saoki is still in awe, watches as the lightning dissipates the threat. And standing in front of him is none other than Thunder Emperor. Yijun is absolutely furious. He was just one click away from finishing his manuscript, only for these monsters to ruin it all. The boss monster cowers in fear as Yijun's radiant aura fills the area. Confused and desperate, it charges toward its demise. Yijun, on the other hand, is determined to make an example out of it. So, he swings his hand through the air and delivers a solid slap to one of the monster's face. Not just one, slap after slap until the creature is reeling. And just when it seems like the monster might have had enough, Yijun delivers his final crushing blow, a lightning strike so powerful that the Hydra is fried to a crisp. But even after obliterating this massive creature, Yijun's anger isn't satisfied. He's still furious about his manuscript deadline. As the surviving soldiers begin to recover, they're confused by what just happened. They can see the monster has been subdued, but they're also worried about their captain. Saoki is barely conscious but still alive, and the team rushes to him. They also notice the lifeless Hydra's body, and upon closer inspection, they spot a massive groove on one of its heads. It looks like someone, struck it with incredible force. The soldiers can only assume that Seoki, their captain, is responsible for this damage. The news soon spreads. It's reported that an A-rank hunter, Ma Seoki, fought and defeated a AAA-ranked monster single-handedly, despite the massive gap in their ranks. Though the mystery remains, why did an A-rank gate suddenly spawn a AAA monster after 2 years? Seoki becomes an internet sensation, his heroic battle becoming the subject of countless videos, now with over 100 million views. He's hailed as a hero, even though he's sustained enough damage to grant him a 14-week recovery period, with permanent vocal cord damage from the profanity he shouted during the fight. Meanwhile, at a high-level meeting of hunter bigwigs, Seoki's actions are discussed. One member suggests recruiting him into the Guardian Guild immediately due to his incredible performance. However, another disagrees, noting that he's only an A rank. But even the skeptics acknowledge that Seoki could potentially be promoted to S rank. Sitting quietly in the meeting is Yiseo, Yijun's sister. She knows that it wasn't Seoki who defeated the Hydra, it was her brother. She's dreading what might happen if anyone finds out the truth. Do Huang, the Guardian Guildmaster and an S-rank hunter, suspects that the Thunder Emperor might have been behind the monster's defeat. He questions whether anyone truly believes that an A-rank hunter could defeat a AAA monster. He's not buying it. Yiseo remains calm, pretending not to know anything, but internally she's panicking. If Do Huang figures out the truth, she and Yijun will be in serious trouble. Do Huang leaves the meeting, still skeptical. He is certain that only someone of the Thunder Emperor's caliber could take down such a terrifying monster. No matter how much the Thunder Emperor hides or removes his traces, Do Huang is determined to find him and meet him personally. Cut to the said Thunder Emperor who is trembling and sweating like he's been thrown into the middle of a desert. The guy who literally cooked a giant monster with a single bolt of lightning is now terrified of his manuscript examiner. For the record, this fearsome judge is none other than Gu Kyungmo, an editor from Gold Label Publishing, Editing Team 3. And finally, Kyungmo gives his verdict. The story has nothing that will keep the audience excited. Yijun feels like he's been struck by lightning. Kyungmo, on the other hand, proceeds to give a thorough review. While the setting is good, the problem is that every monster gets obliterated in a single hit. The story favors style over substance, making it impossible for readers to stay engaged. There's no character development, no realism. If this keeps up, readers won't be able to immerse themselves. They'll lose interest and drop it. Desperate, Yijun tries to argue otherwise. He really put his best effort into making the story as engaging as possible. But apparently, repetition isn't the only issue plaguing his script. Kyungmo slides his iPad across the desk toward Yijun and questions him about the recent news. A Guardian hunter recently saved civilians during a sudden gate breakout. He nearly died in the process. This, Kyungmo says, is what you should be writing about. A mere hunter, not even high-ranking, risking his life to protect the masses. The intensity, the desperation of that battle. This is what Yijun's story is missing. Even without witnessing it firsthand, people can connect with a hero emotionally. That's how a name becomes engraved in history. Even if they weren't there, they feel like they were. They understand that person's heart, their struggle, their pain. That is the touch of realism. And just like that, something clicks inside Yijun. It finally makes sense. He bows his head in apology, acknowledging his mistake. He never once considered the audience's emotions. Now that he understands the task at hand, Kyungmo decides to give him 1 more week to revise his manuscript. Yijun is beyond grateful. But before leaving, Kyungmo delivers a final warning. This is his last chance, so he better not mess it up. And if he does, then he better prepare for contract termination. Of course, that last line sends the mighty Thunder Emperor right back into panic mode, sweating buckets like he just got thrown into a sauna. Back at home, Yijun is utterly exhausted. He slumps onto the couch, drained of energy. His older brother, seeing his negative energy, gets annoyed and punches him on the forehead. But Yijun keeps complaining, throwing a pity party over his failed expectations. Tears of frustration flow as he asks his brother what he's supposed to do now. He then explains his predicament to his older brother, frustrated by the fact that he has been tasked with revising his script once again. If he fails to redeem it, his contract with the entertainment company will be terminated. His goal is to make the storyline more realistic, but the only thing standing in his way is his own lack of writing skills. Out of curiosity, his brother asks what he had written previously. Yijun confidently recounts his script, where he had eliminated 30 A-rank monsters with a single attack. For him, this was the most realistic setting possible. In his mind, there was no way the plot could be any more grounded than this. It looks like Bro thinks that just because he can obliterate monsters with 1 strike, everyone is just as powerful. Even his brother understands what is wrong, so he questions his gullible little brother whether he has ever fought like a normal person would. Proudly, Yijun responds positively. When asked when that was, Yijun recalls the Chaos Gate incident, 70 hours of non-stop fighting against relentless waves of monsters. It was one of the most exhausting battles of his life. However, his brother points out that such an event is not an everyday occurrence. Chaos Gates are rare, and using that as a reference does not reflect the struggles of an average hunter. Intrigued, Yijun asks about his brother's thought process. His brother reminds him that there are only 12 legendary hunters in the world. Most people cannot relate to the experiences of someone at the pinnacle of power. In reality, the majority of hunters range from F rank to C rank. Simply reaching A rank means a person has more wealth than they could ever spend and can completely change their life. S rank hunters, on the other hand, gain not only immense talent, but also influence that surpasses even the CEOs of major corporations. Since legendary hunters are so rare, very few people would be able to relate to a story featuring one as the protagonist. The audience tends to project themselves onto the main character, which is why stories about gradual growth are more appealing. To improve his writing, his brother advises Yijun to conduct more research, watch regular hunters in action, or at least observe them. But Yijun faces another problem. Since he is not a licensed hunter, he is prohibited from entering active battle zones. With no other option, he begs his older brother for help. Wanting to get rid of his persistent younger brother, the older sibling offers a suggestion. Visit the Korean Hunter Association. The president of the association would likely be able to assist him. He reminds Yijun that he is the Thunder Emperor, the only legendary hunter in Korea, the very man who faced the monsters of destruction. He should not be acting like a pathetic loser. We cut to the Korean Hunter Association building, where President Park Dae-han is in an absolute frenzy. He is in the middle of intense negotiations with high-ranking officials from hunter associations around the world, desperately trying to promote Korea's standing. Since the second Greece earthquake warning last year, the Korean Association has carried out numerous successful international gate raids and has proven its expertise in hunter training. Their assistance even helped France prevent an entire city from being wiped out due to a gate break. When Germany requested veteran hunters to share their training methods, Korea stepped in to provide support. So why, despite all this, has Korea's rank adjustment request been rejected? The Indian Hunter Association president, Gulshan Grover, smugly responds to Park Dae-han's desperate pleas. The rejection, he explains, is due to Korea's lack of legendary hunters. The 11 other top-ranked nations have legendary hunters who can provide international support, while Korea has nothing to offer. On top of that, South Korea's only legendary hunter, the Thunder Emperor, suddenly retired. The discussion goes back and forth, but in the end, Grover makes it clear, only nations with legendary hunters can enter the elite first-class national hunter ranks. No exceptions. Poor Park Dae-han tries to negotiate further, pleading to at least be granted second-class status. But Grover and his colleagues are not interested in continuing the conversation. The matter is postponed, leaving Park Dae-han devastated. He fumes at how these opportunists came begging for help when they needed it but now refuse to return the favor. His assistant tries to calm him down, reminding him that there are still duties to fulfill. President finally takes a chill pill and asks about the next task on the agenda. The assistant reports that they have a meeting with the Scorpion Guild, one of the guilds that responded to the association's field collaboration proposal. However, the assistant recommends skipping it. The Scorpion Guild has a poor reputation, with rumors that they secretly absorb competing guilds and monopolize high-level gates under the guise of association support. If they get involved with people like that, the association's reputation could be in jeopardy. Park Dae-han, though sharing the same concerns, reminds his assistant that they cannot ignore an officially recognized guild's request for a meeting. Just then, an urgent report comes in. A man is forcibly making his way into the association, demanding to see the president. He claims to be the son of a convenience store owner. Park Dae-han finds it insulting. To think some random convenience store owner's son dares to barge into the association as if he owns the place. The assistant quickly apologizes and prepares to handle the matter personally. It is then that the reporter mentions the name Jongdae Convenience Store. Realization hits Park Dae-han like a thunderbolt. If his memory serves him right, that store belongs to the father of the Thunder Emperor. For a moment, his mind blanks. Then panic sets in. He dashes down at a speed that would put the Flash to shame. When the elevator does not respond, he rushes down the stairs, not wanting to keep the Thunder Emperor waiting. Meanwhile, outside the association building, a car arrives carrying the Scorpion Guildmaster, Joe Jinham, and his secretary. They are overjoyed, believing their guild's reputation has skyrocketed since Park Dae-han actually agreed to meet with them. But then out of the blue, they witness the president himself sprinting out of the building in an absolute frenzy. Mistakenly, they assume he is rushing to greet them personally. However, Jinham's expectations are shattered when Park Dae-han throws him aside like an afterthought and continues running. He even berates Jinham for blocking the path of the Thunder Emperor with his worthless body. When Park Dae-han finally reaches Yijun, He grabs him by the shoulders, rattling off frantic apologies for making him wait. Once his apologies are out of the way, he asks what brings the Thunder Emperor to the association. Yi-jun simply states that he wants to observe hunters fighting up close. Park Dae-han, still hyped beyond belief, doesn't even listen to the details properly, and immediately promises to prepare all the paperwork for Yi-jun's return. However, his dreams are crushed when Yi-jun clarifies that he is not coming back. He just wants to watch regular hunters in action. In exchange, Yi-jun offers to grant the president one wish. A short while later, a contract is drawn up. If the Korean Hunter Association cooperates with Yi-jun's research, he will temporarily act as the Thunder Emperor. Park Dae-han does not want to miss this golden opportunity, so he accepts the terms and assigns Yi-jun the role of gate helper. Gate helpers assist in retrieving loot from cleared gates, securing escape routes, and, in critical situations, may even participate in combat. However, actual fighting rarely happens, as high-ranked hunters handle most of the action. This role fits exactly what Yi-jun needs. Excited, Yi-jun marvels at how he never even knew such a job existed. Seems like bro does not know about the existence of gate helpers because at his rank, the gates he entered were deadly enough that even A-rank hunters can be obliterated in collateral damage, so Yi-jun never needed any helpers. Anyhow, he is happy to score this gig, and is looking forward to it. Before leaving, he tells the president to send the rest of the details at the convenience store. With that said, my guy launches himself through the windows like a goddamn meteor and disappears. Seeing the gaping hole Thunder left behind, the assistant begins to ponder if Thunder Emperor has always been this reckless. The president quickly tells his assistant to shut his trap because he does not want to hear anyone bad-mouthing the Thunder Emperor. He is not reckless, he is just a bit of an odd one. But he is still Korea's only hope. The scene transitions back to our nutcase, who has finally made his way to the C-rank guild, Harmony of All Things. From this point onward, Yi-jun will be able to learn more about the real hunter world, and this time, he wants to write a story packed with real-life experiences, not something shallow like before. As soon as he enters, he happily yells out his greetings as well as his name, announcing himself as the new gate helper. But his happiness soon fades when he notices that nothing seems to be going on in this so-called guild. The only things occupying this place are piles of trash bags, and 2 trash bags in human form slacking off on the couch. One of them jolts awake at the mention of a gate, panicking, thinking that one has appeared. The other lazy ass on the couch explains that it's just the gate helper who was supposed to arrive today. The fat guy quickly gathers himself and apologizes to Yi-jun for the bad first impression. Meanwhile, our idiot is just happy to finally experience the ways of an actual guild. The fatty puts on a broad smile before greeting the newcomer and introducing himself as Man Saseong, the guildmaster of Harmony of All Things. Our boy shakes bro's hand violently, greeting him with all the eagerness in the world. Saseong invites him inside and tells him to make himself comfortable. Turns out they are a C-rank guild because they only have 3 official members, including the guy on the couch. The third person has been sent out on a dispatch. The mention of dispatch perks our boy up. He gets excited, thinking that this must be just like how the 12 apostles are sent to other countries. Saseong feels bad for Yi-jun, realizing he ended up coming here out of all possible guilds. Meanwhile, our guy isn't paying much attention as he's too busy taking notes of everything he observes. After all, he wants to portray what a normal guild looks like in his scripts. But as we can see, this place is far from normal. Even the guy busy on his phone admits it. This guild is stuck at C rank forever, and there's no big money to be made. The few members they have are barely making ends meet. While this is the harsh truth, Saseong isn't sure if his friend has to be this blunt and insulting about it. But then again, truth is truth. As they argue back and forth, Yi-jun takes note of how close they both seem. The two of them together feel like a pair of longtime comrades. Saseong admits that they've been tolerating each other for a long time. While the two continue bickering, Yi-jun diligently takes notes about the camaraderie shared between hunters. Seeing how highly Yi-jun speaks of them, they begin to wonder if the reason he keeps complimenting them like veterans is because being an F rank must really suck, making them look impressive by default. Yi-jun, meanwhile, is going absolutely bananas with his wild imagination. He has seriously convinced himself that these two runts are among the greatest of hunters. He's so excited that he can't wait to head into a gate with them. Then an awkward silence falls, because Saseong clarifies that this guild has no expeditions planned. All the enthusiasm drains from Yi-jun's face like he just heard the most brutal mom joke ever. The only reason he opted to join a hunter guild was to go on raids. Saseong reveals that he too desires to go on expeditions, but he simply hasn't had the opportunity. Yi-jun then questions what he's supposed to do now since his plan to experience real life has collapsed before even taking off, to which Saseong nonchalantly replies that there's nothing for him to do. Now that Yi-jun thinks about it, not getting many jobs is part of real life experience. After all, it's not like gates open every day. He is now ready to do anything else if there are no raid jobs. To which the brown-haired guy immediately orders our boy to clean for them. Sasong exposes this nasty bastard for handing over his duty to someone else. Either way, my guy simply accepts the job. He is feeling absolutely euphoric. He has an entire week to revise his script before his contract is terminated. So until then, he plans to implement all the realism needed to make his manuscript engaging. It's the second day on the job, and Yijun has been tasked with cleaning the hallway by Sashyong. On the third day, the poor guy ends up washing windows because, shockingly, there still hasn't been any appearance of a gate. It's the fourth day, and by now, Yijun's excitement has simmered down because nothing exciting is happening. As usual, he's once again assigned a menial task, mopping this time. It's the fifth day on the job, with only 2 days left before his contract is terminated, and all Yijun has done so far is freaking chores like a goddamn servant. He is pretty freaking sure that he is doomed. Not getting a gate on the first day was understandable, but to think that it's already the fifth day, and all he's done for an entire week is clean this goddamn place. He has literally not revised a single word in his script, and the deadline is looming over his head like the Grim Reaper prepared to claim his life. The scene then transitions to Gu Kyungmo, our boy's manuscript examiner, who is working late at the office while everyone else has already left. This is when his coworker appears, offering him coffee. He is sure that Gu Kyungmo is overworking himself because of Yijun. Gu Kyungmo admits it. The other guy then asks why Gu Kyungmo is putting so much effort into that rookie when he's not even that good. Well, it seems even Gu Kyungmo doesn't quite know why he's favoring Yijun so much. But whenever he looks at him, Yijun always seems desperate to prove himself through his writing. Gu Kyungmo is hoping that his efforts might bear fruit because that guy is his last hope. But it looks like the hope Gu Kyungmo is banking on is having a very tough time. Only 1 day left before contract termination, and poor Yijun has not made any progress, with his current manuscript word count remaining at a sweet, round 0. The aspiring author is busy having his first C-rank guild observation. His recent obsession is to write a realistic novel, but so far, that goal has proven unrealistic for him. Because Ahyun hasn't written a single word in his manuscript, and his contract's on the verge of termination, Dude is actually facing dread, realizing that he's about to get his ass fired. The C-rank guild's leader brings him the first good news of the day. They have an emergency dungeon expedition. Ahyun's speechless for a moment before erupting in happiness. It's the moment he's been waiting for. A chance to see hunters in action, allowing him a chance to write. But for some reason, C-rank hunters look worried. The thing is, it's a B-rank dungeon and they're a C-rank guild. To Ahyun, it sounds like a piece of cake, but he often forgets that not everyone is as overpowered as this guy. 3 guilds at the minimum are required to clear a dungeon above their rank, and that sounds like a good thing at first. But the real issue is the other guild that they've just teamed up with. The scene cuts to the Valley of the Wolves at the Soksan Gate. The hunters are all prepped up in their gear, but Ahyun's guild members are curious what he's up to. This man is having his first low-rank dungeon experience, and he's acting like a child who has seen candy for the first time. They see him interviewing hunters all around, but they chalk it off as just a newbie's activity to get comfortable. Calling for their attention, the Feitas guild they're supposed to team up with is called Fierce Bear. Their guild master, Richard Bear, continues to egg on the Harmony Guild members. They aren't exactly on good terms, and Richard's out here making fun of the Harmony Guild for training their rookies, and then sending them away to other guilds. Of course, it's not like they did it on purpose or anything, their recruits were poached in the end. The reason these two guilds don't get along is because the Fat Bears, the Fierce Bears, are consistently responsible for buying out members of the Harmony Guild. Richard gets all pissy for no reason, and their clash is only made fun of by the 3rd C-rank guild. The Mantis Guild's Sama Ryong thinks an argument between weaklings is pointless. They want these lackeys to focus on saving their energy for the raid later. Apparently this guy is also full of himself. Ryong thinks his guild is the best of all 3, and they'll only use the other 2 for scavenging leftovers. While this little conflict is going on, Ahyun is out here getting free content for his story. He's getting all kinds of ideas for a so-called realistic story. That's until Bro gets his slapped by another arrogant guild member, who thinks the new recruits are getting too comfortable these days. But this guy doesn't know that he fucked around with the wrong person. Ahyun's giving him the meanest, "I will break your teeth and feed them to you" side-eye. It intimidates the dude for a good second before Ahyun returns to his usual happy-go-lucky attitude. The other guy just runs the heck away, avoiding Ahyun for the mission to come. Our boy thinks he's got yet another idea to showcase a helper's struggle in the story. Ahyun's called over to enter the gate. Inside the gate, these guys are crushing monsters left and right. The wolves stand no chance against the combined might of the 3 guilds, and yet their biggest struggle yet is arguing with each other. Anyway, the Harmony Guild members are going strong, but right as they're about to deal the killing blow, the Fatas Richard comes tackling them and stealing their kills. Bro is the definition of a kill stealer. Seeing this go down, Ahyun's a little speechless. He never thought that a real battle between normal hunters and monsters was so damn chaotic. I mean, these guys are practically jumping each other just to get a kill. Our boy has never experienced this level of pettiness over fighting. Ryong is out here celebrating having obtained exclusive rights, allowing the guild to set the attack pattern and determine the pace of the raid. He's using the Fierce Bear and Harmony Guild to handle the small fries, so their own guild can save their resources and target only the final boss. Ryong sees the boss approaching them. It's just an oversized wolf. His hunters are overly confident that they'll easily get this one done and finished. Ryong believes his guild's promotion to B rank is now just a matter of moments away. He lunges forth to escape the same ranks as the other weaklings. His guild excellently slashes the boss down, while Ryong himself capitalizes on the moment and slashes the boss monster numerous times. The giant wolf's body hits the ground. Ryong enjoys beating monsters to a pulp, believing that it's just a piece of cake. Ryong's confidence turns to shit the moment he spots the actual boss monster of the gate. It's an even larger and more terrifying beast than before. An undead wolf, a monster with A rank caliber that shouldn't even be in a B rank gate. While they're out here pissing their pants, Ahyun thinks of the puppy as a typical mob NPC. It's nothing to him. Anyway, the undead wolf begins its rampage, tearing apart Ryong's men to pieces. His confidence shatters and turns to utter despair. Ryong's guild members turn the opposite direction, acknowledging the gate is experiencing an abnormal change. Let's explore what a gate change actually is. It's supposed to be an unpredictable event change where a high-ranking boss monster causes the gate's rank to experience a shift. The sight of an A-rank monster alone is terrifying enough. Even for B-rank hunters, an A-rank creature is just out of reach, a peak that terrifies their level. And now, this undead wolf has become their greatest demise. The chances of a C-rank guild contending against a gate 2 ranks higher than their own, their survival rate is even less than an average human surviving a normal gate. Basically, these guys are done for. The wolves are tearing apart the guild members like paper. Ryong stands there, completely paralyzed in place. There's too much going on. And despite his efforts to get so far, Ryong refuses to accept his defeat in a place like this. So he overestimates his abilities and charges right ahead, only to eat shit with a single smack, tossing his body into the nearest boulder. The rest of the wolves, the supposed B-rank ones, are casually hunting down each guild member. Even the Fierce Bear Guild is at despair's end. These people can't even hold themselves together. In this tough situation, the voice of reason becomes Saxiong, who wants them to remain confident and wait for the association memes to send back up. If they can hide for a while and buy some time, the association hunters will reach them in time. Saxiong is more than ready to give up in his own life just to ensure their survival. The guild members all run away, abandoning him and apologizing for doing so. He knows that he can't beat the monster ahead, but that's not what he's fighting for. All he cares about is becoming a decoy, allowing the rest to evacuate in time. His brother comes around and joins along, unafraid to face the threat ahead of them. They've both accepted their own deaths, but it's not like they've got any chances of victory in this fight. Not against the dozens of wolves staring them down. Saxiong wants our boy Ihyun to run while he still can, even apologizing that they were responsible for dragging him in a shitty situation such as this. Ihyun sees this and reaches an enlightenment. He's slowly learning that not everyone can run away and survive. That was the cruel reality of the battlefield. People here fought knowing they were going to die. This is what a real hunter's life actually looks like. Ihyun is gratuitous of their valiant efforts. Unfortunately, the Harmony duo are nothing but helpless against the A-rank monster. They're unable to find even a single opening. Right when they think they're about to die, a single lightning beam crosses past them. Ihyun goes Super Saiyan again, removing his glasses to get serious. He activates his Thunder Wheel ability to annihilate the group of monsters in a single strike. The crazy part? This guy adjusted his output to 5% of his full strength, and that was enough to tear a hole into the ground. Saxiong and Sungho are freaking speechless at the sight of Ihyun eradicating the threat. The legendary hunter looks at them with promise, realizing that he's found entertainment in realistic hunter stories. Still, his previous attack wasn't enough to beat the A-rank monster fully, but it's not like our boy is worried. He doesn't even turn around to obliterate the damn monster in a single wave of lightning. They know by now that he's the Thunder Emperor all along. Ihyun's strapped for time since he's got to finish his manuscript now. He wants these guys to keep his identity a secret and vanishes in a flash of lightning. The Harmony Guild members are left questioning what the hell just happened. In the meantime, the association backup team also arrived at the scene, rescuing all the hunters involved. That night, news covered the report of the mysterious gate change. Thankfully, some hunters escaped the gruesome threat and were rescued by the association members. Well, Kyungmo is out here biting his damn nails in nervousness. Midnight's a minute away, and so is his contract termination. His annoying writer, Ihyun, finally hits him up at the last moment. He sent the file for the manuscript. Thankfully, it was only a minute before the actual deadline. The editor is dying to see some good stuff in this document because Ihyun's made way too many mistakes in the past. To his surprise, Kyungmo can't believe that the story actually carries weight. It is way better than what he thought he would receive. Over to a different scene, Do Wang's grandson gets hit by a damn car. Apparently this clown with a big nose is overconfident in his return as a C rank. It's been 1 whole year since he was sent to train. There were many trials in his path. For example, bro got his ass beat by boxing kangaroos. But he thinks it was just necessary for his growth. After enduring painstaking training each day and night, he overcame each trial and rose higher than a D rank. This guy's also a part of the Harmony Guild, and he thinks he's become a C rank hotshot like his brothers. But for some strange reason, it's eerily quiet in the guild's headquarters. Youngsik thinks his brothers must be planning some big stuff to celebrate his return. He enters inside, sparkling with hopeless optimism. The result? Bro finds Ihyun there, both of them not knowing who the other person is. The aspiring writer introduces himself as a gate helper, but Youngsik is offended at the mere thought of an F-rank newbie joining amongst their guild. Youngsik acts like a hotshot who has just acquired the heights of C rank. Lil Bro doesn't know he's facing a legendary hunter. Ihyun doesn't even know what this man is about. In any case, Saseong and Sungho are still disappointed they ended up making the Thunder Emperor of all people do cleaning work and other chores. But they're even more confused as to why he joined their guild. It just doesn't make any sense. Then there's the fact that Ihyun's revealed his identity, which means he probably won't return to face them again. It's unfortunate because Sungho was seriously expecting the help of the legendary hunter to clear high-level dungeons, allowing their guild to climb higher. The guild leader thinks his brother is being short-sighted and naive, especially since they just escaped a life-threatening dungeon raid only a while ago. Actually, the real reason gate changes even occur is because of the ranks of hunters participating in the gate. Now Ihyun was secretly legendary rank, that's why the change was influenced. Which also means, each time they raid a dungeon with this guy around, their very own lives will be at stake. Sashong just can't deal with that kind of annoying pressure. But Sungho believes that even thinking about it is pointless because the Thunder Emperor won't be joining their guild anyway. Or so they thought. After entering their quarters, they find Youngsik facing off against Ihyun in a conflict. This C rank is perhaps a bit too confident in his abilities because he thinks he'll easily turn a slacker like Ihyun into an A rank hunter. Which is funny because the clown isn't even A rank on his own. Youngsik is about to discuss the basics of training, when suddenly he's approached by his 2 brothers. Youngsik is expecting a heartfelt reunion, only for his face and stomach to get tackled like shit. They're literally putting him in a damn chokehold because he doesn't know who the hell he's talking to. Ihyun is just having fun seeing their little argument go down. His manuscript actually went well. The editor was pleased with the realistic aspects of the story. It involved the protagonist raising his own life to save his companions against a gruesome threat. It heightened the emotional impact of the overall story. At this rate of improvement, Kyungmo believes there's actually hope for our boy's official work to debut. This filled Ihyun's heart with excitement. Finally, he was getting rewarded for his tireless efforts. It motivates him to continue doing his research and slowly build his momentum until he can finally debut as a big author. While he's nerding out on his own, the rest of the Harmony Guild members are questioning what he's writing. They're afraid this guy might be keeping a hit list of some kind, recording their every little action, and then one day killing them in cold blood. Ihyun states that he's got something to give to them. He walks with such menacing aura that it scares the shit out of the guildmaster. He even waves his arms ahead for protection, begging him to spare his life. But it's actually just a gate raid ticket. Ihyun wants all 4 of them to go as a complete team. Youngsik is thrilled to prove his skills at the opportunity. Sashong realizes that the Thunder Emperor is also going to be joining them on this raid. What's even more, Ihyun declares that he'll officially be joining the guild as a whole, causing shock to both brothers as they freeze in place. Youngsik is abandoned like a puppy, while Ihyun expresses that he's interested in joining for researching purposes only. The guild leader understands the situation at hand, but he thinks it's foolish for a godly hunter of his caliber to work in a meter C-rank guild. Sungho makes the decision for him and accepts Ihyun into the guild, much to his brother's annoyance. Sungho's as serious as it can get, and reminds his brother of their guild's early days. 5 members started the Harmony Guild, and then more than 20 members joined. The guild boasted ambition to climb even higher, but right then, each member started to withdraw, until all of them embraced the cruel reality that they weren't anything special. Still, deep down, Sungho regrets being unable to chase their dreams. At this moment, Sungho believes that the person before them isn't the legendary hunter at all. It's actually just a boy who wants to chase his dream. Along with that, it helps the guild too. It's the second chance they so desperately needed. Sungho thinks they should do it for Jiho's sake. They want to consider their newest recruit as an aspiring novel writer, a gate helper named Ihyun. Thinking about Sungho's words, and reflecting about his family, Saseong sees the vision and finally approves Ihyun's joining. The Harmony Guild has gained its newest recruit at last. Meanwhile, a secret reconnaissance agent is keeping tabs on Ihyun's activities and reporting back to his own group. Ihyun's out here typing away like a maniac again, recording his interaction with Yongsik. The people around him take him for a weird guy. Suddenly, the staff members are shocked to see Guildmaster Do Hwang dressed up all nice and entering the store. He explicitly states that he's got some business to deal with the kid, so he wants the store to be emptied out. The staff members don't even take a second to argue with him because they're getting a ton of money just to exit the place. Do Hwang approaches Ihyun, who's just an innocent soul, humming to the beat of his heart. Do Hwang is seriously pissed, recalling how this brat ran away from him last time. His mere presence exudes so much pressure that Ihyun turns around to notice him. The old man remarks that they've got some unfinished business to deal with. And then it turns into an anticlimactic ending when Do Hwang embraces the Thunder Emperor like he's his damn son or something. It's been a while since Grandpa over here last saw him, but our boy's serious about keeping his business, especially since his creative juices are being disturbed in the middle of him writing a novel. Do Hwang recalls that he's just as stubborn as ever, but the old fart is confident that Ihyun won't be escaping this confrontation so easily. Ever since his retirement from the legendary hunter rank, he's yet to answer his calls. But that's only because Do Hwang incessantly called him to no end. The guildmaster counters that it's only because he's been avoiding him like a plague. These two guys aren't even related by blood, but Do Hwang is out here pretending that Ihyun's actual grandpa. The aspiring novelist brushes off the matter and insists that he's got to finish his novel. Do Hwang is ready to leave him alone, so long as he answers one question. Do Hwang is dying to know why the Thunder Emperor suddenly decided to return as a hunter. This so-called serious question gets dodged as our boy is too busy writing his novel to care. Do Hwang decides to talk about something Ihyun actually likes. For example, the fancy shoes that he requested him to bring. Anyway, the old fart gives him a damn rant about the favors he did for Ihyun. Giving up, the legendary hunter explains that he needed to maintain the identity of a gate helper to conduct research for his novel. That's why he made a deal with the president of the Korean Association and ended up returning as a hunter in exchange. Do Hwang is almost offended that Ihyun didn't choose to side with the Guardian instead, but Ihyun argues that it would be too easy otherwise, and he wanted some realism in his story. Grandpa doesn't get what he's talking about at all. Ihyun suddenly acts like he's got a PhD in understanding the struggles of normal hunters, completely forgetting the fact that he's absurdly overpowered and beyond broken on his own. Do Hwang doesn't get what he's talking about, but he's more than ready to help the boy with his research material. He insists that if Ihyun joins the Guardian, he'll help him become his successor and pave a path for his future. To that, Ihyun completely stuns the old man by revealing that he's already made an alliance with a guild. He doesn't care about the successor bullshit at all. Hearing him joining the guild, Do Hwang is pretty impressed. He wonders if his own group should just buy the guild that recruited the Thunder Emperor. Ihyun expresses that he joined only recently, and he doesn't want to hear any nonsense from him. Do Hwang then gets to a serious matter, addressing him by his name. There's the obvious threat of his identity being leaked, and that's something the senior guildmaster wants the boy to always be wary about. Even though Ihyun personally isn't afraid of something like that, Do Hwang believes that it could pose a threat to those involved around his life, the ones that are far weaker than him. In the middle of his rant, Do Hwang recalls one of his first memories encountering the Thunder Emperor. He just defeated a monster, but his expression remained deadpan and unimpressed. He spares out for a good minute before returning to his jokester self, even offering Ihyun to join the Guardian anytime he faces a struggle. Grandpa finally turns away to leave, but he's more than happy to see Ihyun finally experiencing the joys of life. Seeing this, he asks his secretary the costs of acquiring a publishing company. Apparently Do Hwang's got some plans for our boy. Anyway, Ihyun's being kept an eye on by multiple targets. They know for a fact that he can't be a weak F-rank, merely because of his connections to Do Hwang and the association president. Suddenly, Jinim reaches enlightenment. It's known for a fact that Do Hwang doesn't treat anyone nicely. He's supposed to be a ruthless figure. At this point, he wonders if rumors of his cherished grandson are actually true, and if Ihyun is actually the kid he dotes on. Right when Ihyun exits the cafe, Jinim is begging his men to cancel the assassination plan because he didn't know they fucking with Do Hwang's beloved grandson. Funnily enough, our boy gets run over at full speed. Unfortunately, Jinim couldn't handle the situation in time. These guys went full speed hitting our boy, confident from the impact that they've killed the target. But of course, both men are shocked when Haeyeon's unharmed and standing on his feet. They deem him a damn monster for surviving such a brutal crash. One of them tries to kill him with a weapon, while Ihyun is so dense he thinks it's his fault for staring at his phone while crossing the road. Then he spots the two men attempting to stab him with their weapons. Easily dodging both of them, he grabs them and jolts them with a surge of electricity, knocking both men out in a flash of a second. Iheon's mighty powers come to the surface, but then he returns to his normal state and realizes that he may have gone overboard. He's worried that someone may have spotted him causing a scene just now. In the distance, Guildmaster Dowang is receiving all the attention from the crowd, allowing our boy to enjoy an air of relief. He still can't place a finger on why he was attacked, and wonders if he should just check in with the association president. After the incident, the men are carried to the hospital. Daehun apologizes for the inconvenience caused. He didn't believe those men would go so far. Ayeon learns that the association president knows a bit about these guys, to the point his attitude turns to seriousness. These guys actually belong to the Scorpion Guild, led by Jinnum. They're a dangerous group that operated with the Korean Association right after the Thunder Emperor's retirement. Jinnum is a manipulative and cunning individual, known for doing whatever he can to get what he wants. Daehun shared a recent meeting with this guy, but ended up sidetracking him just to see Ihyun. That's why, this is just his way of paying the association back. He obviously can't lay a finger on the association president, so he's targeting the F-ranker who received his attention instead. Daehun apologizes for the troubles caused again, but Ihyun's pressure is so much that it's uncomfortable to breathe around him. No doubt this is the true might of the Thunder Emperor. The president requests the legendary hunter to calm down, ensuring that he's going to do whatever it takes to protect the guild that he's a part of. They think he's angry, but deep down, Bro is enjoying the moment to the fullest. He thinks this is as realistic as things could get for his story. After all, this encounter has provided him insight that hunters are fierce in competition even outside of gates. This means the looming threat will only promise the protagonist's growth. Ahyun's practically radiating at the opportunity, and he's more than happy to tell the president that he can handle things on his own without any of their involvement. Daehun certainly wasn't expecting that. But this naive fool thinks that it's necessary for the sake of making things more interesting. Let's go over and visit Jinnum, who is currently having a field day. He instructed his men to cancel the operation, but they idiotically went ahead with the plan anyway. And then, they failed to kill their target too, humiliating the entire guild by ending up in the hospital. Not even his men know how they were defeated. They think it was some kind of bodyguard who took them out. To this, Jinnum smacks the living daylights out of the guy, sending him flying. Jinnum still doesn't know that the guy they faced was the legendary hunter himself, so he's out here underestimating the threat. He's disappointed in his men for being unable to beat one kid. More than that, now that he's come to know that Do Hwang is Ihyun's grandpa, things will only get more complicated. The guildmaster of one of the greatest guilds in the world is no laughing matter after all. Still, Jinnum thinks it's pointless to back out now. He learns that Aehyun belongs to the Harmony Guild and intends to buy every single gate that the guild intends to bid on in the future. This way, the gate helper won't have any guild to scout him. Jinnum's devious schemes go for an even more sinister twist, as he intends to kidnap one of Ihyun's family members. And that's what happens, as Ihyun's friend is casually strolling around, not knowing what's about to happen next. Jinnum's men execute the mission well, kidnapping the lady successfully while she has no idea what's going on. She can't believe an unimportant person like her is being kidnapped of all people. At the Scorpion Guild's hideout, Jinnum's in over his head, thinking that he's just one-upped Do Hwang by pulling out this secret move. Now, S ranks are absurdly powerful. He doesn't even require more than a few squad captains from his guild to wipe the Scorpion Guild off the face of the earth. However, Jinnum is operating under the assumption that Do Hwang really fancies his grandson, which is why he's nothing more than a human in this case. And now with his relative held hostage, Do Hwang will be limited in unleashing his powers. All they have to do now is play slowly and manipulate the game in their favor. This hotshot really thinks this is their chance to control the Guardian Guild from the shadows, becoming a major guild in Korea on their own. Still, he never expected Do Hwang to have a granddaughter, so he curiously unveils her face, only to realize to put the bag back down. Jinnum physically revolts, realizing that they just messed with the Crimson Flame herself. She easily burns and frees herself, amused to ask what they were yapping about Do Hwang. She wonders if they Tay lackeys of the Scorpion Guild have scored a deal with their leader. This badass girl boss is more than happy to make this kidnapping experience entertaining for her. I feel pity for Jinnum because Bro's luck is seriously in the gutter. Over to a different side, the Harmony Guild has gathered up to confront a gate raid. Youngsik, being delusional as always, wants to show Ihyun some new tricks, not knowing that he's teaching the master in disguise. Ihyun just jots down his notes, while the other two guild members feel anxious about what's to come. Ihyun once again thanks the guildmaster for accepting him into their guild. They're more than happy to have taken him in. After all, they're only getting a chance to raid thanks to the permit he gave them last time. Because of their own selfish pride, they attempted to secure a gate on their own. But the Scorpion Guild made it worse for them, intervening at every step and snatching the gates they bid on. Hearing the name of the organization, Ihyun's face literally goes from 0 to 100. Bro is hella mad that those bastards are interfering with his cherished guild. Sung-ho wonders if he said something wrong because the situation feels tense. Anyway, Yongsik is dying to enter the gate, while Ihyun takes off his glasses, aura maxing with those eyes and deciding to meet the Scorpion Guild head-on. Suddenly, he receives a text from the Crimson Flame, who took a casual selfie after beating Jinim and the rest of his lackeys. It's so funny that she sent it in the group chat, acting like it was nothing. She tells him about Jinim, the man responsible for kidnapping her, and the guy who's the leader of the Scorpion Guild. Reading this, Ihyun's face turns to a smile. He offers to hand her a wish ticket for a request. Meanwhile, Jinim ran for his life. His men have yet to figure out what even happened. The Crimson Flame left them alone on a whim, and they all got their asses handed to them for no reason. Jinim roars at them for capturing a damn S-rank hunter. His men severely underestimated her caliber. This woman turns everything to ash wherever she goes. She's like Satan's incarnate, with enough flame force that entire gates get incinerated with her magic. A brilliant fire mage with no equal, more than just a pretty face they underestimated and kidnapped. They're lucky she didn't kill them then and there. Jinim's out here questioning reality. He certainly wasn't expecting the Crimson Flame to end up as Do Hwang's granddaughter. All he wanted was to take down Ihyun, the great master of the Scorpion Guild who is struggling so much against an F-rank bastard. In the middle of their little discussion, the Crimson Flame returns to have a little chat with them. Jinim was hoping she let them go like last time, but apparently she's come here to wrap things up. With a flick of her finger, boundless flames erupt all around her. Ihyun asked her for a favor, so of course she can't ignore the fact that they messed with her little brother. Jinim's life is burning apart in shambles. It's the ultimate example of fuck around and find out. And the Scorpion Guild is surely finding out the hard way. Wasting little to no time, she burns the entire place down, destroying the Scorpion Guild by the end of her attack. The Crimson Flame walks away content, wrapped by the exciting sensation of feeling like a comic book superhero. Jinim and his men straight up took a one-way ticket to the hospital. Their little kidnapping attempt led to the destruction of the Scorpion Guild as a whole. The entirety of Korea was going crazy over the kidnapping of an S-rank hunter. Everyone made fun of the Scorpion Guild for self-destructing like fools. Among them, Kyungmo is wary. He receives Ihyun's message, who has decided to delay the submission of the script by one more day. Let's go and see how our aspiring writer is doing. Apparently, he's fuming with annoyance, unable to get anything down on his document. His sister is getting impatient, but our boy is unrelenting and tells her to say the magic words if she wants an answer out of him. She doesn't want to, and leaves the room, while Ihyun finds himself annoyed that he couldn't write a single word thanks to the Scorpion Guild's interruption. And this time, some gorilla, in other words his sister, intervened. Hearing this, she grabs his throat in average sibling fashion. Ihyun begs her to stop and explains the reason he made that request. It's because those scumbags of the Scorpion Guild were harassing his own guild. Left to breathe, Ihyun takes a breath, lucky to have survived another day. But his sister is straight up stunned. She just can't fathom the mention of a guild that he willingly joined. Ihyun begs her not to make a big deal out of the situation, since he's meaning to keep it a secret. But this girl runs away to tell their parents. She rants about the news to everyone in her family. Talk about a petty sister. The following day, Ihyun brings a bunch of presents on behalf of his family. They wanted to thank the Harmony Guild members for accepting him as part of their own. Sung-ho is a little overwhelmed, while his brother is out cold sleeping like a maniac. Youngsik's busy, so they'll have to wait for a bit. Sung-ho talks about the recent coverage of the Scorpion Guild. He thinks those scumbags deserved it for messing with their raids. Of course, Sung-ho has no idea that it was our boy who caused their destruction. Sung-ho is a little suspicious of what went down, and believes there's a strong reason tied to the Scorpion Guild's involvement. After all, these guys were one of the most successful A-rank guilds all around. And then they started cheaply assaulting a C-rank guild's raids. They even went as far as kidnapping an S-rank hunter. All clues point to one thing. Right now, our boy is sweating bullets, wondering if this guy is a 1,000 IQ genius who somehow connected the dots and figured him out. He fears that he'll get kicked out of the guild. Sung-ho concludes that there's only one explanation. He addresses Ihyun, who at this point is begging not to get kicked. But Sung-ho's entire build-up led to a shitty ending. Bro's conclusion is that they're on the path to becoming rich for whatever reason. He thinks they're special because high-ranking hunters are waging a war over the gates they're bidding on. That means something is special about those gates, and it's a sign of fortune to come. They'll have no trouble entering the gates with the Scorpion Guild gone. His yap session is put to a stop with a dropkick by his older brother, whose sleep went to shit thanks to Sung-ho's rant. He thinks Seung-ho is being delusional for believing they'll get rich anytime soon. The guildmaster wants to take care of the raid quickly, since he's got his own work to deal with as a mercenary. Ihyun's finally glad that he got himself out of that mess. He checks his messages. It's from the editor who wants to have a meeting with him regarding the recent manuscript. Terror looms over his head, realizing this is about to be another feedback session. Later that day, Kyungmo meets Ihyun in person. He actually loved reading the manuscript, strongly believing that the author's skills improved. That may be a good thing, but his work is still full of flaws. For example, Kyungmo points out the protagonist's hindered growth. There's no proof of progress of when the protagonist will become a B-rank hunter. It's true that his writing has become more interesting, but it's too mundane. There's nothing special to catapult the protagonist's growth, which means his story is stagnating. The protagonist is supposed to undergo a normal start, but their journey is full of trials they need to overcome to get stronger. Readers love a story where there's good development. After all, even the 12 legendary hunters aren't overpowered from the start. They experience gruesome battles to get to where they are today, and it's only thanks to their unique journeys that people are excited about them. That aside, the Thunder Emperor was different from the rest of the apostles, as he was blessed with God-gifted talent from the beginning. Kyungmo emphasizes that the writer should focus on the protagonist's development. This gives our boy a bunch of ideas. He's going to include a scene where the main character will overcome a difficult obstacle to get to the next level. The editor agrees with this perspective and concludes the meeting. Ihyun is thankful for his feedback. The editor leaves him with a homework exercise. He wants Ihyun to focus on a writer's growth and explore the topic deeply. After all, a writer's growth is the platform his main character starts off from. It's an interesting frame, and it leaves Ihyun in a state of contemplation for his protagonist. His thoughts linger on what it truly means for one to grow. As night falls, Yijun sits at his computer, searching for consultation on how to portray a protagonist's growth in his writing. He stumbles upon a suggestion saying he needs to show the protagonist gaining stronger abilities or acquiring powerful items. At first it clicks. He just needs to add more training scenes. But as he hovers over the next recommendation, a new idea catches him off guard. It states that making a character stronger isn't just about power. True depth comes from inner growth. Curious, Yijun searches for what inner growth means. He finds a lengthy explanation from a user named Hungry, who describes inner growth as solving inner struggles, such as helping friends, making social connections, and overcoming personal challenges. However, Yijun struggles to fully grasp what everyone is talking about. Despite his confusion, a smile spreads across his face as he realizes that if inner growth means making friends, he can gladly do that. Meanwhile, in one of the gates, Manso is fighting a massive bear monster head-on, with his guild members positioned behind him. He orders everyone to maintain their formation, but as he speaks, the bear monster becomes enraged. It slams the ground with a powerful roar and charges directly at Manso. Chad Manso blocks the attack with his large sword, but realizes he's using a significant amount of strength to hold his ground. He calls out to Youngshik and the others to attack. On his command, they leap forward, slicing the bear's shoulder and torso with their weapons. While the guild is busy battling the massive beast, Yijun is sitting nearby, trying to write something about inner growth in his notepad. However, he can't seem to think of anything. Even after participating in gate raids and fighting monsters, the battles feel repetitive, with the same tactics every day. He struggles to find any meaningful connection to inner growth. As he thinks about this, he can't help but imagine his publisher firing him if he fails to find a way to develop his story's character growth. Frustrated, Yijun sighs and looks up at the ongoing battle, wondering if he'll ever truly understand what inner growth means, and if he'll ever be able to translate it into his writing. After successfully defeating the beast, the guild hunters celebrate their victory. Their leader, satisfied with their performance, acknowledges their efforts. Meanwhile, Yijun remains on his knees, overwhelmed by the imagined consequences of his contract termination. Youngshik reminds the leader about concluding the session and inquires if he has forgotten something. Mansa recalls that Youngshik is referring to the profit distribution and assures him that it will be handled within the week. Upon hearing this, Youngshik excitedly suggests organizing a party to celebrate Yijun's enlistment as a rookie. However, Mansa declines, stating that he has other matters to attend to and suggests postponing the celebration. This decision raises concerns among the guild members, though the reality is that Mansa carries the burden of being the head of his household. Leaving the guild, Mansa boards a bus and visits a shop, where he purchases a book and a bouquet of flowers. With these in hand, he proceeds to the hospital where his wife and ill son are staying. Upon his arrival, his son's expression brightens with excitement as he shares that he refrained from leaving his room for food. Acknowledging his efforts, Mansa presents him with the book he had purchased. The boy becomes visibly overwhelmed upon realizing that it is a work by a renowned author, specifically addressing the notion of avoiding romantic subplots in hunter fiction, exactly the kind of book he had desired. He expresses his gratitude with evident joy. Mansa then turns to his wife and hands her the bouquet, marking their wedding anniversary. Her face softens with affection upon receiving the flowers. However, just as Mansa and his wife are about to embrace, they notice their son experiencing a sudden nosebleed. Within moments, he loses consciousness, signaling that something is terribly wrong. The doctor controls the situation using medicines and reassures them not to worry, but he warns that the child's rare disease is related to the gate. He adds that the boy's health will deteriorate if he is exposed to magic, so they should schedule the surgery as soon as possible. Manso, with trembling hands, nods and claims he is aware. The doctor, sensing his hesitation, assumes Manso might need time to think and gives him space. Manso, still gripping his fists tightly, worries about how he will afford the surgery. He contemplates taking out another loan or taking on more mercenary work to gather the necessary funds. Lost in thought, he notices his wife silently crying beside their child. He wipes her tears and assures her that he will handle the financial arrangements, urging her not to worry. As they speak, their son suddenly opens his eyes, startling both parents. They feel a wave of relief seeing him awake and ask how he is feeling. However, the boy apologizes for falling ill, his voice filled with guilt. Manso tries to comfort him, insisting it's not his fault, but the child continues, saying it's because of him that his parents are suffering. The mother's heart breaks at his words, and she begins to cry, blaming herself and her husband instead. She promises the boy they will do everything to ensure he gets better and won't face any more pain. Outside, Manso stands in a queue on the street, his mind racing. He recalls how the bank rejected his loan application because he already has one under his name. With no other options, he decides to return to mercenary work. He joins a mercenary group and begins slaying monsters, pushing himself to the limit. One day, a fellow member praises his hard work and asks why he's pushing himself so hard, questioning if he needs instant cash. Manso confirms, revealing he needs 200 million won. The member is shocked, rubbing his head as he reminds Manso that C-class hunters don't earn that much. But then, the member remembers something and makes a call. He dials someone named Hyung and asks if the job they discussed earlier is possible for a C-class hunter. After getting confirmation, he hangs up. Hearing the conversation, Manso stands up and asks if the job pays well. The member nods, explaining it's dangerous but highly lucrative. Manso, desperate and determined, agrees to take on the job, knowing it might be his only chance to save his son. The member hesitates, unsure if Manso should take on such a dangerous job, but Manso is desperate and willing to do anything, no matter the risk. The member reveals that a B-class wizard guild is looking for a tanker to front line while they channel their spells. However, the mission involves raiding a B-class gate, which is far more dangerous for someone of Manso's C-class rank. According to the member, Manso could earn up to 100 million won as the tanker. This amount shocks Manso, but before he can respond, the member warns him that he'll have to face the monsters alone, holding the line while the mages prepare their spells. The member emphasizes that Manso could lose his life fighting B-class monsters, but Manso, driven by desperation, accepts the job without hesitation. He requests the member to secure the position for him. The next day, Manso finds himself standing in front of a massive B-class troll monster. Behind him, the mages from the guild are busy channeling their spells. They order him to hold the line, and despite the terrifying size and power of the beast, Manso agrees. He plants himself firmly in front of the monster, gripping his large sword tightly. The troll begins delivering powerful axe swings, each strike shaking Manso to his core. He barely manages to block the attacks, his arms trembling under the force. As he struggles to hold his ground, memories of his middle-class life flood his mind. The constant struggle to pay rent, his landlord threatening to evict him if he doesn't pay by next month, the guild office rent piling up, and, most importantly, the looming cost of his son's surgery. These burdens fuel his determination, and despite the overwhelming strength of the monster, Manso refuses to give in. He clings to the hope that this job will allow him to provide for his family and secure a better future for his son. However, the troll's attacks grow fiercer, and with one devastating swing, it shatters Manso's sword and strikes him directly in the chest. The impact sends him crashing to the ground, his body broken and bleeding. The mages rush forward to attack the monster, but Manso lies motionless. As he takes his breaths, a single tear rolls down his cheek. He thinks of his son, his heart heavy with regret and sorrow. He feels like a failure, an incompetent father who couldn't give his child a better life. Meanwhile, in Yijun's apartment, he is deep in thought, pondering the concept of growth and what it truly means. His thoughts are interrupted by a phone call. The voice on the other end delivers the news about the Manso situation. The words hit Yijun like a thunderbolt, shaking him to his core. Manso is admitted to the hospital, with his wife sitting beside him, crying uncontrollably. Yijun and Suncho arrive, their faces filled with worry as they see Manso lying in the hospital bed. Yijun quickly realizes that Manso had been working himself to the bone to pay for his sick son's surgery, and Suncho confirms it. However, Suncho feels a pang of anger toward Manso for not sharing his struggles with them, as if he considered them strangers. Hearing about Manso's dire situation, Yijun immediately offers to help. This puts a thoughtful expression on Suncho's face, as he remembers Yijun's identity as the Thunder Emperor. But after a moment of hesitation, Suncho shakes his head and refuses Yijun's offer. Yijun is shocked and asks why Suncho would reject his help. Seuncho explains that if Manso had truly needed money from them, he would have asked. Since he didn't, Suncho believes Manso wouldn't want to accept their assistance now. He adds that Manso has always seen Yijun as their younger brother, not as the Thunder Emperor, and accepting help in this way might hurt Manso's pride. Youngshik, who is also present, suggests talking to the B-rank Mages Guild that Manso had been working for as a mercenary. Seuncho agrees, wondering if Manso had been overthinking things or simply been too naive to ask for help. He turns to Yijun and assures him that if they take his help, Manso might feel disappointed in himself. Instead, they will figure out another way to support him. As Seuncho turns to leave, Yijun's face hardens with determination. He confidently assures Seuncho that he will help them, not as the Thunder Emperor, but as their youngest brother, Yijun. A while later, elsewhere, the Mages Guild is in the middle of a chaotic battle against a horde of skeletons. They are confused and frustrated, calling out for their rank C tankers to step forward and take the hits. From the shadows, Seuncho and Youngshik emerge, stepping into the role of tanks. The enraged skeletons charge at them, but the two hold the line, shielding the mages who begin channeling their spells in the background. After a grueling fight, they finally reach the boss room. Outside, the group takes a moment to rest, with Seuncho and Youngshik trying to catch their breath. Even though they manage to handle the smaller mobs, they are clearly at their limit, and now they are about to face a rank B monster gate. As Seuncho sits in thought, he overhears two mages arguing. They complain that they should have hired a rank B tanker, doubting that Seuncho and Youngshik can hold their own against the next boss. Their leader intervenes, pointing out that hiring a rank B tanker would be too expensive, and that they don't have the funds for it. He adds that the last rank C mercenary they hired did fine, so he remains hopeful that Seuncho and Youngshik will manage as well. Seuncho, hearing this, can't help but wonder about the horrifying consequences if they fail. Just then, Yijun joins them, surprising both Seuncho and Youngshik. His face looks sunken and pale like a zombie, prompting Seuncho to ask if he's okay. Yijun, however, just lets out a manic laugh and confidently declares that they will take down the boss. He urges everyone to follow his lead. With that, they all enter the boss room and a chaotic battle erupts. However, to the mages' shock, they find only small skeletons in the boss room, with no sign of the actual boss. This makes the mages wonder if someone else has already defeated it. One of the mages suggests calling it a day, as there were too many smaller skeletons, and all the mages have used up most of their magic power. Additionally, they can't figure out why the boss isn't appearing, even though they've cleared most of the horde. The leader is also drained, with only enough mana left to cast 1 or 2 spells at most. Looking at the C-rank hunters, he realizes that with their depleted mana and the C-rank's limited strength, they won't be able to fight the boss if it appears. Reluctantly, he decides to call it a day, and instructs everyone to return the next day to finish the job. As the group begins to leave, Yijun calls out to the Mage Guild leader, questioning why they're giving up when the real fight is just beginning. The leader is confused by Yijun's words until Yijun points out a strange phenomenon. The head of a skeleton minion is levitating in the air, sucking in the bones of the fallen skeletons. As it channels energy, a massive rank B boss monster, a giant skeleton, forms right in front of them. The sudden appearance of the boss catches everyone off guard. Despite his nervousness, the leader quickly rallies his team, urging them to gather whatever mana they have left and prepare to fight. The mages begin summoning their remaining spells, launching a barrage of attacks at the giant skeleton. However, to their shock, the skeleton remains unharmed, as if their magic is completely useless against it. The skeleton, in retaliation, lifts its heavy sword and swings it toward the mages. Just as the blade is about to strike, Yijun signals his teammates to attack. Seuncho and Youngshik charge forward, cutting through the skeleton's leg and shoulder with surprising precision and strength. The mages are stunned. They can't believe what they're seeing. Mere C-rank hunters overwhelming a rank B boss right before their eyes. As the battle unfolds, Yijun stands to the side, watching the fight with a confident smile on his face. Meanwhile, both Seuncho and Youngshik are following Yijun's strategy. Yijun had devised this plan by studying materials shared by the association and conducting his own research. On his notepad, he showed his teammates the skeleton's weak points, specifically, the joints that control its mobility. Yijun explained that targeting these joints would be crucial to defeating the monster. He instructed them to attack the skeleton at these points before it could launch its own attacks. Seuncho is amazed by Yijun's thorough preparation, which makes Yijun shyly reveal that he is an aspiring research-based writer. Back at the fight, Seuncho and Youngshik are going all out, attacking every joint on the skeleton. Both of them have Yijun's notes with them, detailing how to dodge left and right and how to distract the skeleton while evading its attacks. Following the plan, Youngshik leaps into the air and strikes the skeleton's knee, forcing it to drop to one knee. Seeing this, Yijun calls out to Sunsho to attack. Sunsho leaps into the air, aiming to strike the skeleton's core with maximum power. As he descends, Sunsho uses his /X skill to deliver a devastating blow to the skeleton's core. However, to their shock, the attack completely bounces off, sending both Sunsho and Youngshik flying backward. The skeleton now stands tall in front of them as both hunters are at a loss for what to do next. Yijun, watching from the sidelines, realizes that strategy is only effective if you have the strength to back it up. The mages, who have been mere onlookers during this fight, begin to fear that they are all doomed. However, Yijun calmly walks past them, channeling his Thunder Emperor form. Just as he is about to step in, Sunsho stops him by reminding Youngshik about a tactic they had used in the past. Yijun is confused, wondering if they are referring to the tactics they've used against other monsters. Sunsho suggests combining their powers, and Youngshik agrees. They decide to start by drawing the skeleton's focus. Youngshik taunts the skeleton, flipping it off to annoy it. The tactic works, and the skeleton begins attacking Youngshik, who starts running around, screaming for Sunsho to do his thing. Suddenly, Sunsho shackles the skeleton's foot, causing it to lose balance and fall to the ground. As it drops, both hunters combine their sword slashes, striking the skeleton's core simultaneously. Their swords pierce through the core, unleashing a powerful burst of energy. As the dust settles, the skeleton collapses and begins disintegrating into the air. The mages, witnessing this, are left speechless, their jaws dropped in awe. Soon, the realization hits them that they have survived, and they begin celebrating. Yijun, too, is impressed by the duo's determination and ingenuity in a life-or-death situation. They came up with a new strategy using their own strength, and in Yijun's eyes, this is exactly what growth looks like. Meanwhile, in the hospital, Manso's body shakes as his mind is filled with images of his son apologizing for being a burden. Suddenly, he wakes up confused about where he is. He soon grows worried, realizing he had gone out to earn money for his son's surgery, but failed. He is overwhelmed, unsure of what to do next. Just then, his guild members arrive and, seeing him in such a distraught state, scold him for not telling them about his struggles. Manso is filled with disappointment in himself and apologizes. However, his guild members reveal that while he was in the hospital, they took on some jobs and earned enough money to cover his son's surgery. Hearing this, Manso is in disbelief, his heart swelling with gratitude and relief. To shock him even more, they hand Manso the money they earned from the mercenary work. Sunsho assures him that with their efforts, they've managed to cover the cost of the surgery. However, Manso claims he can't accept the money, which leaves the group stunned. Sunsho, in disbelief, asks if Manso isn't thinking about his son. Manso, feeling guilty, explains that they risked their lives for that money, and he can't take it without paying them back. Youngshik reassures him that they understand his situation and don't expect repayment. Manso insists that his struggles are his own fault, blaming himself for the guild's hardships. As he speaks, Manso is hit with flashbacks. He remembers a group of hunters resting in an alleyway after a long gate run. Despite their hard work, they were unhappy, earning minimum wages while being exhausted from the grueling tasks. As they talked, the vice guild leader arrived, complaining about how long they'd have to keep cleaning up after gates. He pointed out that with the way things were in the Scorpia Guild, there was no chance they'd reach rank B anytime soon. He suggested they join the new guild he was starting, claiming they worked too hard only to end up exhausted. Manso, sitting in the corner, overheard everything and blamed himself for overburdening the members with his responsibilities. He told them they'd have to figure things out on their own from the next day. Youngshik argued that it wasn't Manso's fault but Richard's. Yijun, who had been silent until now, speaks up. He reveals that he received feedback about his story's protagonist not growing, which he initially didn't understand. However, after seeing Sunsho and Youngshik fight, he realized growth isn't just about strength, but what one learns through their struggles. According to Yijun, Manso didn't just go to gates to level up. He was there to protect his family and support the guild. It was this determination that showed true courage. Yijun explains that the day he joined their guild, the theme shifted to "Family comes first," and he doesn't think that would have happened anywhere else. This is why he wants to continue helping, to write about the growth of his story's protagonist, and to support their guild. Hearing this, Manso realizes he hadn't considered their feelings and had acted foolishly, only thinking about his own struggles. Reflecting on this, he agrees to accept their help if he ever faces trouble again. The group is relieved and happy that their leader has opened up. Yijun asks if he can help as much as he can now, and Manso jokingly thinks they're all in trouble. Somewhere else in the city, a powerful bat monster is wreaking havoc. Elite hunters are trying to stop it, with Do Huang leading the attack. He orders his team to form a formation and prepare to strike. However, before they can execute the plan, the monster slashes through half of them. It then summons a fireball in its mouth and hurls it toward Do Huang. A tank barely blocks the attack with his shield. The tank is Yi-san, an S-rank hunter, who checks if Do Hwang is alright. Do Hwang confirms he's fine, but the ground is littered with the bodies of the 1st and 2nd Elite Squad soldiers, while the monster remains at full power. It's a boss monster named Diablo with SS rank power. Do Hwang, seeing the devastation, asks Hyojun to heal the soldiers, who is already doing so. Determined, Do Hwang draws his sword, ready to risk his life against the boss monster. As Diablo prepares another attack, both Do Hwang and Yi-san are startled by the sound of a hunter bolt cracking in the sky. It's the Thunder Emperor himself, using his Thunder Wheel spell to deliver a devastating strike on the monster. The recoil of the attack drags Do Hwang back, but he recognizes his grandson Yi-jun. Though Yi-jun can be a bit prickly, he knows he always shows up to rescue his grandpa. However, Yi-jun denies this, claiming he actually came to ask for a favor instead. Meanwhile, at the airport, a crowd gathers, eagerly waiting for someone to arrive. As the person steps out, everyone begins taking pictures and cheering. This person is Sato, one of the 12 apostles, known as the God of Combat. Just after landing, Sato goes to meet Park to announce his arrival. He is shocked that Sato has arrived so soon. Sato apologizes and presents a letter, explaining that it's from the association president. Park, curious, wonders what the letter is about and why the association has sent it to him. However, he is stunned when he reads that Destroyed and Jaina are dead. Sato reveals that 2 of the Azure Sky 13 stars have been taken down, which doesn't make sense to Park. The Azure stars are the 13 highest ranked hunters in the world, closest to the legendary tier, excluding the 12 apostles. This leaves Park confused about who could have possibly killed them. Park is further shocked when Sato reveals that Black Spear is responsible for the killings. Sato admits he doesn't know much about the group, suggesting that the association president might have more details, as similar incidents are happening worldwide. Hearing this, Park realizes it must be their doing. Black Spear is an extremist group of massacres who believe that non-awakened humans are slaves meant to serve them. Governments worldwide have classified them as a terrorist organization and are deeply concerned about their activities. According to Sato, after this incident, the group might be labeled as more than just terrorists. With that, Sato extends his hand, revealing that the association president wants the 2 nations to work together. Park gladly agrees to join forces. Sato then informs him to review the documents for more details about the incident. However, Sato thinks the president is being overly cautious, as he believes he could easily defeat the entire group himself. Park agrees, acknowledging that Sato is one of the 12 apostles after all. After delivering the message, Sato remembers that he came to meet someone specific. Meanwhile, at the guild, the members in Manso's family are having a celebration dinner. Young Shik raises a toast for Manso's return, the completion of his training, and the addition of Yi-jun, their youngest member, to the guild. He also mentions Manso and his son's health in the toast. With the toast done, Young Shik starts eating like a beast, much to Sunsho's annoyance. Despite stuffing multiple dishes into his mouth, Young Shik doesn't stop until Sunsho drags him away from the table and slams him to the ground. Manso's family finds this amusing, while Yi-jun quietly munches on his food. After everyone is full, Young Shik, despite his stomach being stretched to balloon size, insists on having ice cream. He asks if anyone wants to join him, and Sunsho, though full, agrees to go along. Manso's wife and kid head to bed, leaving Manso and Yi-jun to clean up the table. As they work, Manso mentions that he heard Do Hwang calling Yi-jun his grandson, and asks if it's true. Yi-jun denies it, saying it's just a figure of speech Do Hwang uses. Manso then reveals that Do Hwang visited the hospital, upgraded his and his son's room to VIP, and covered all the expenses. Do Hwang even offered Manso a house, but Manso refuses to accept it for free. He decides to repay the kindness by growing the guild, as Yi-jun suggested. Manso plans to start recruiting new members once he's fully recovered. Yi-jun gives him a thumbs up, wondering what kind of episodes might unfold with new recruits. As Yi-jun continues cleaning, he notices a trail of black smoke moving in the distance. Curious, he excuses himself from Manso's house and leaps off the apartment building using his Thunder Emperor powers. He lands in a nearby park, sensing a strange energy in the air. As he contemplates what it might be, he feels something approaching. Without hesitation, Yi-jun turns and delivers a powerful kick, sending the attacker flying. The figure attacks again, creating a large crater in the ground, but Yi-jun effortlessly blocks the punch. It's Sato, who praises Yi-jun's skills, admitting he thought Yi-jun might be rusty but is impressed to see he's gotten even better. They both greet each other, and Yi-jun reveals his writing career and the things he's been doing. However, Sato can't believe that a hero of humanity suddenly disappeared and became a nerdy writer. Sato admits that he thought Yi-jun would give up right away, as in his memory, Yi-jun always seemed unmotivated and complacent. Yi-jun explains that writing is fun for him and pushes him to do better. However, Sato senses that something is off about Yi-jun. He stands up and says his goodbyes, surprising Yi-jun with how quickly he's leaving. Sato turns and assures Yi-jun that as long as his head stays empty, they'll meet again. This leaves Yi-jun confused. In Park's office, he stares out the window, deep in thought about the 13 Stars mission request. He knows that the only ones capable of stopping Black Spear are the 12 Apostles. But the problem is, Park already talked to Yi-jun, who doesn't seem interested. Park tried to convince Yi-jun but failed. He worries that things might spiral out of control quickly. The pressure is mounting on Park, especially since Yi-jun has already announced his retirement, claiming his research is nearly complete. Park knows Yi-jun could handle the mission if he tried, but the issue is that he's retiring. As Park begins to lose his composure, his assistant hesitates at the door, waiting for him to calm down before entering. Once Park settles, the assistant walks in and hands him the newly released rankings by the association, highlighting the most promising rookie hunters. The assistant mentions that a hunter from their country has taken first place. Before even opening the book, Park already knows it's Cha Seong, the demon of the sword, known as the best newcomer hunter in Korea. Cha Seong is a genius who reached S rank in record time after awakening. He also wields one of the greatest weapons since the Great Gate era, called the Dark Moon. Only 2 people in history have contracted with Dark Moon and reached legendary rank. Park is thrilled at the thought of Cha Seong reaching legendary rank, as it would give Korea 2 legendary hunters and make it the top-ranked country in the world. He fantasizes about becoming the president of the top association and rubbing it in the face of the Indian president. As Park laughs maniacally, the assistant grows uncomfortable. Park continues rambling, saying that once he's president, he'll show Yi-jun how he can't just retire. As he says this, Yi-jun suddenly appears in the room, scaring Park out of his wits. With an evil grin, Yi-jun tells Park to keep yapping, but he quickly apologizes, terrified. He asks Yi-jun what he's doing there. As they talk, the sword demon, Cha Seong, stands outside the building. His sword, Dark Moon, speaks to him, reminding him that he's already an S-rank hunter and that if he wants to become a true warrior, he'll need to grow stronger. Meanwhile, as Park and Yi-jun stroll out of the building, Cha Seong silently walks beside them. Dark Moon is shocked, sensing the immense power radiating from Yi-jun, and warns Cha Seong that he's a monster he must not fight. However, Cha Seong himself can't sense anything unusual about Yi-jun and is confused. Despite this, he trusts Dark Moon's judgment, knowing the sword has never been wrong before. Determined to grow stronger, Cha Seong decides to approach Yi-jun. Dark Moon pleads with him to think carefully before acting, but Cha Seong ignores the warning. He walks up to Yi-jun and places his sword on the back of Yi-jun's neck, challenging him to a sparring match.